FlyOver State of Film was shot in front of a live studio audience. Well, you guys know what it is. It's a TJ episode. So, I made you guys watch a movie.
Episodes.
I like TJ episodes because the movies he picks always have a song that goes along with them.
FlyOver State of Film was built on TJ episodes. This show would not be in 73 episodes without TJ episodes.
No, we need the palate cleanse of TJ episodes. Absolutely.
It definitely makes everything like the next whoever picks next kind of gets a free like a softball over the plate.
You would think so, but it's always me, and I managed to fuck it up.
So
I wish it was
a good pick. It just got released the week that we shot this episode, or right before it. Thanks to Yusef for releasing these on time.
That joke died.
80s classic, just one of the guys. The plot of this movie is that the popular girl at one school, who's also a very smart writer and journalist, is in a contest to see if her paper can get published in, I guess, the actual, town paper, whatever the fuck it is, or just be acknowledged as like a high journalist in the school. But she thinks because two males are picked, well, she doesn't think, she obviously sees and hears, which you guys I'm sure will fucking talk about, that because of who she is and how she presents herself, that she'll never be taken seriously in the writing business. So she takes it upon herself to just cut her hair and throw on a couple extra shirts and go to a different high school and write for them. So, boys, just one of the guys. Anyone's first time watching?
It was my first time watching.
It was my first time watching.
Oh, Brian?
No, it came rushing back to me that I had seen this
like
movie.
PTSD.
Yeah, it was one of those movies that I watched with my parents.
We used
to have a lot of movie nights where my dad would rent a bunch of movies. He would pass out, and me and my mom would watch the movie. And yeah, I definitely saw this movie. And the reason why is a vivid memory is because we were seated far apart. I was a youngin', and when
COVID
the
was still existing,
she almost rushed. She was like, "Ah!" trying to reach me to cover my eyes.
They do fully come out of nowhere. I mean, I didn't know we were going to get right into the boob scene right off the top.
Yep.
But
I was generally surprised. I mean, jumping right to the end, surprised when I was like, "Oh, we see her boobs. Okay, cool."
No, here's my thing. Okay, it's like, all right, because I'm not a teenager anymore and I've seen boobs before. Yeah. I was like, great, those are fine. But also, my mind instantly went to, her whole thing is to be believable as a man, and she's wearing a tuxedo. Not only does she not even have a bra on, she's not wearing binding or anything to keep her strapped down or stuff. It's unrealistic enough that she doesn't have binding, but she wasn't even wearing a fucking bra. What were you thinking? What kind of support do you think a tuxedo shirt gives you? And she's a busty gal. She probably had some troubles.
I read the trivia watching this is she did the whole movie have binding on that actually made her very
Of course, she would have to have, yeah.
But one thing I do want to say, I want to actually talk about positives I liked about this movie first, before we just say no. Wow. My notes were she even with Billy Zapka. Yeah, I'll get into it, guys. Even with Billy Zabka in it, one of the notes was she looks like the Karate Kid. She looks
they name checked it in the movie.
Oh no, and then as I was saying, positive about
the girl
it,
says it.
Yeah, so much.
she looks like Machio, and then like I don't know, 10 minutes after I wrote that note, like a girl says it, I'm like, all right, props there, and but she also at the same time,
but I
she
do
looks like
feel you are saying that it's a positive, but I kind of feel bad for Billy because he always picks on the guy that turns it around on him. And now he's like, and it ruined his record. Now he's like 1-1 in beach fights because he lost that one.
He was up before.
I was excited to see Johnny Lawrence.
I thought he was. I was hoping he would just like bust out some karate on him at the end and like whoop his ass into the sand and just be like, "That's right, I'm Johnny Lawrence."
She also
throws off his tuxedo coat and puts the red one on. Like.
She also like one of my
notes. Me the whole time, motherfucker.
I transferred here.
One of my notes also was that she looks like every woman to play Peter Pan.
Well, here's my thing.
Stage play.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Sarah could only stomach to watch this movie for a little while with me, but she pointed out, and I think rightly so, the acting in this movie is terrible. I think there's a reason that I barely have ever seen anybody who's in this movie in anything else. Aside from Billy Zabka, there's like nobody in this movie that was recognizable to me. The acting is abhorrent. But I also was like, the reason this girl got a lead is she is voluptuous but has a little boy's face. Like she has the body of a woman and she literally has the face of like a 12-year-old sitcom star. So, she looks like the middle Hanson brother, the hot one.
My third note, right, was oh no, the jive talk. Because when her brother was like, you gotta be a man, for some reason they were like, let's start talking black.
The brother character, I mean, everything about the brother character sucks so hard. And he gets rewarded, and he doesn't ever learn the lesson, he never gets any better, and he gets rewarded. So that shit sucked.
I will say this.
Feminism went out the window. Like, the only thing that this movie had going for it is, like, women can do it too, it's just a gender. But then
she instantly just becomes obsessed with a boy.
Yeah, but but feminism goes out the window when a half-naked woman is upstairs. She's like, yeah, to her creepy, horny brother, go have her.
She's up there.
She's all yours.
Go ahead.
So I wrote my last...
Also, the trans jokes in this, there's some... Well, oh, wait, go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, no, my last note of this is... I have a few notes here, but... My last note is, this is the gayest movie we have watched on FlyOver. Like, and not in the way where it's like everyone in the movie just so like hyper like afraid and like it's just very
gay. Definitely get into the gay panic part at the end.
But the other note I have, which I thought was funny, is she, the whole plot's like there's really no stakes. She just wants to prove she can be a journalist. Is this girl in 2021 would be the Ruth Conda forever.
I want to talk a little bit about that for just a second, because like the problem is never that she's a girl.
No.
The problem with her writing is never that she's a girl. Both the writing teachers, when she's a girl and when she's a guy, tell her the same thing. It's that your writing is good and your subjects are boring. They tell her to pick better subjects. It is never about her. The only person who thinks it's about her sex is...
It literally should have ended... Right, the movie should have ended as soon as he said...
When the second teacher at the new school tells her that. Yeah, that's...
So...
She's the only one who ever makes it about her sex. The teachers are very forthcoming about it, and then she's like, "No, they're lying. It must be my."
Those first two are a little bit sexualizing her.
This movie is the reason why women directors don't get chances to direct. No, I'm kidding, but like it is a female director of this movie.
Oh, that was the joke. Oh, I didn't know that was. She was a female
director. A female director trying to make a studio comedy in the 80s.
I'm clearly making a
Can we talk about the teachers talking about flunking a 10th grade student? So
keep her in this class longer. Talk about her legs.
The fuck was
Arrest
that?
Arrest them.
Listens.
What the fuck? And he was like very old too. Like he was
even older than the guy. He was like the older of the two teachers.
Well, the one guy had to be the good guy. He's like, careful, you're gonna lose your job. He's like, hey, it's not that good of a job anyway.
It's worth it to bang an underage teen.
Yeah.
Everyone in this fucking movie is one toe stub away from saying a hard R.
I want to real quick. First, I want to throw up the disclaimer that obviously we don't have any trans people on this show. I support trans rights. Trans rights matters. I was wondering about this movie. I don't know enough. I'm not close or haven't talked about this movie with enough trans people to know. Is this one of those movies that even though it's like a bad representation, because it was one of the few representations that existed, that the trans community did kind of take this movie on? Is this like, I wonder if this is like an iconic trans movie because they just had so few to pick from. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing of where any movie that featured gay characters was considered like a win for the gay community, even though they weren't always positive, because it was just like, hey, we have something to enjoy that like actually like throws out.
I don't know. It's not really trans.
I don't know if it falls in that bucket because it's kind of the same bucket of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
They're just utilizing the gender to get ahead. They're not actually the gender.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
I don't know if it's maybe, not something. I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. I just mean because of the lack of representation in general. Yeah. Was this one of those ones that just kind of got like, maybe even now they like you might have a trans person who like doesn't like this movie but kind of grew up with it and kind of like seeing her dressed like that maybe like spark some things in them or whatever that they didn't understand or something. Like it might not be necessarily that the movie was good, but just that it had meant something to them on a different. I don't know. Just it was something else.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yes.
So it's funny. I watched this movie. I put it on at work, but I was having a really shitty day at work, and I was watching. I was taking a lot of notes and got the full scale. After it was done, I for some reason was like, I want to see the other movie that this is essentially reminding me of. So this movie and every movie kind of around this is based off of Shakespeare's The Twelfth Night.
All right, Joe. Whatever.
All right, just throwing some things. So I watched Amanda Bynes is
she's the man, right?
She's the man. Because they're really similar. And that movie, it's weird. It was like, I tweeted up, but it was like offensive in a different way because it was like more of that modern comedy. So things like kind of worked, but it was still at the same time of like, this is all just of you trying to fuck another dude at the end of the day. Like, it's not about like, because it's all about, that movie's all about like girls playing soccer, right?
Yeah.
And once again, like, Amanda Bynes is just kind of doing like a sketch character in that one. And like, it's clearly a girl. Anyway, it was interesting to watch these back to back because both were like I hate to say like I enjoyed She's the Man, and what I remember of that is every girl that in college, that was like the one DVD they all had. You'd go over their dorm or whatever, and they were like, "Oh, I have a few movies," and it'd be like She's the Man, The Devil's Wears Prada,
Win the Day with Tad Hamilton.
Yeah. And I always thought it was
Fuck yeah.
So to kind of, and it's funny too, just to put the parallel here is, that was a PG-13 and is clearly R. Is Amanda Bynes also flashes a full crowd on the soccer field to prove she's a girl. You just don't see it.
Right, they just don't actually show the boobs in that.
But like, it's the same concept. It's like, here, this is the way I have to prove myself.
I thought that was weird too. It's like there's a lot of ways to prove you're a woman, but she goes straight to just flashing her boobs.
and I mean, I will give She's the Man credit. There's some great, like Vinnie Jones is in it, and
boobs are cool.
What's his name? Fucking Run Ronnie Run.
David Cross.
David Cross is like anyway. It has a good cast around it. Young Channing Tatum, you could see is like street comedy in it.
Could you do a drinking game in She's the Man around the word pussy, like in this movie?
No, but I would love to do it around just one of the guys. Like, they call her pussy so much.
Yeah,
you would have died of alcohol poisoning. Dude, how many times they dropped that word in this movie?
TJ's been with me when we play drinking games. We pound. Games.
Can we talk about, now that we're back on this fucking movie, can we talk about I do a jockstrap inspection surprise 3 times a week?
Jock check, right?
What the fuck does that even mean?
Well, when later you see them walking, they're all holding the like elastic of their jockstrap out of their shorts while he's walking around.
To be fair, that they're wearing them. A freshman in high school, freshman practice, We had a coach that wasn't paid to be a coach, but he's an ex-player who like.
Yeah, we had those at wrestling.
And he would do two things.
There
and
were cut off
definitely not
sweatshirts.
legal. He would do pee checks and cup checks. So the pee checks, if your pee was brown, you had to pee in a cup. You show it to him. If it had any type of dehydration in it, you had to run like a gasser like 2 miles around the school. And then if you're lined up at practice, obviously defense is out against second team offense, and then first offense on the bench against the second team defense. And he would just come up with a yardstick and just walk by, dink. And if he caught you,
ball tap.
Ball tap with a fucking yardstick.
Now, I got to question his. If you were dehydrated, the punishment should have been drink a gallon of water, not run 2 miles. That you don't take a dehydrated person and tell them to run 2 miles.
Soda. If you drank Gatorade and it wasn't cut in half with water, you got fucking. That's fucking nuts. Yeah.
So that's funny. In wrestling, no one checked their pee, but we literally had to take a hydration test to start the season.
Yeah.
But one of my notes was
sports.
It would make sense. Well, you talked about being on a team, though, right? To have that like kind of weird, like taking like showers and all this stuff. It would make sense if she was like, I have to be on a sports team. Just random PE. It didn't make like sense to me.
Keep the part in though. Showering after high school sports. I want to remind myself I played high school sports, so leave that in.
Wasn't it hilarious when they were talking about her crush? That her dad died, his dad died, and he was like, "Oh yeah, one of my mom's friends fucked me, essentially, and made me feel better."
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
What the fuck is wrong with this movie? Like every 10 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, but it's I feel like at some point you realize he made that up because she asked him again, and I think it was like one of those like you make up a story in front of your friend, like my middle school teacher. She
I don't know.
I thought there was a moment where this movie fucking went right over.
It's weird. It's weird because like it's just a pervy movie, right?
Oh,
it's
the
not
guitarist.
like
The guitarist at the prom, clearly like 49-year-old dude playing the guitar and hitting on that.
Her friend who is totally into it. She loves it.
Oh yeah, and in the end, she's like, "He's the lucky one." It's like, no, bitch, he should go to jail.
You know what bothered me too about this movie? Why are there so many nerd characters in this movie? None of them have anything to do with the plot.
Revenge of the Nerd came out the previous year.
I gotcha. Okay, because there's like
I looked it up.
You got the two guys who were like best friends. I was like, that's all you need. But then there's also the weird lizard guy, and then there's like. William Zabka also fucks with a couple other nerds too, like throughout the movie. He doesn't just focus.
The two brothers that are from like an alien planet.
Yeah, that like speak to each other in like weird alien. And you know what? Those dudes still manage, even though they're total nerds, manage to still be gross creeps too. Like they have some like lines that are like, "Oh, you are also a fucking misogynist," even though you're like this.
But it's not like.
I mean, Big Bang Theory is the biggest example of nerd culture being fucking misogynist and sexist and nasty as fuck.
Every stupidest person I knew while that show was on would tell me that I reminded them of someone on that show.
It's the funniest show ever. You would love it. You like movies and nerd stuff.
You like movies. You're wearing a Flash shirt. Bazinga! I'll fucking kill you.
Sorry, Mom. I know you love this show, and I know you love Young Sheldon.
No,
my mom was one of those people I was just talking to. It's true.
My mom doesn't know how to use YouTube, so it's okay.
No,
we'll send her a letter with the link.
No, like I'd rather watch like I guess like you know like just like grosser movies, something like Old School or American Pie.
Hey, I would have rather have watched
Old School is in my honorable mentions.
Old School, yeah.
Also a movie I'm afraid to watch because it probably does not hold up very well.
Hit it.
Let's go into the ratings phase.
Ratings phase.
I like to try to get to that crazy taxi voice when I.
Oh, crazy taxi.
Ratings phase.
Joe, what are you giving this fucking movie?
All right.
All right.
From Bob.
So
You gotta take whatever you were gonna give it and then give it one extra point for the boob reveal because it's so wild.
So good.
yeah, so I think it's a
It comes out of
2.4.
nowhere, and it's
They're
so
good boobs.
satisfying.
I think it's a 2.4
Ooh. Fuck.
shitty journalist review like paper
I was
whatever.
gonna say now, Joe, you have a couple female journalists in your life. Did they enjoy this film?
They didn't watch it with me.
Did this remind them of their struggle?
Do not let Sam watch this, please.
Did this remind them of their struggle, Joe?
Guys, you don't understand.
Do they have to dress up as males to get their story published?
Guys, you don't understand. I will be banking this for my list of like drinking along movies at some point because I want them to see it and I want them to be horrified.
I was thinking, I was like, oh man, Joe's got the perfect friend group to like break this out on some people. Like,
Laura was a journalist. Sam is a journalist. Like, yeah, and my sister-in-law was also. But I will report back one day with that.
Yeah,
because I will
let us know when that happens.
Because it is ridiculous enough to do how does this get made this movie to it?
Yeah, you could.
Brian.
I'll get this one all the way up to a 3. I'll get it all the way up to a 3. It's just one of those like bottom barrel. It was. When you think back on the 80s, it probably like in some people's mind is right up there with the top. But when you go back, it's not even like there's some comedies in the 80s that don't hold up because they're content, but they are still funny and good in their own way. This is not one of those.
Laugh in your
home. You can still laugh at Animal House. You can still laugh at Caddyshack. You can still laugh at. You can even still laugh at a lot of Revenge of the Nerds, even though that's a rough one. But like
TJ,
this movie, it doesn't have much going for it except a little. Slightly more muscular Billy Zabka, I guess.
Yeah, he's super ripped.
He's ripped in this, right?
TJ, I have one question for you.
Oh yeah.
Why?
What like growing like what was your thoughts before the rewatch of this movie? Like because I know you treasure a lot of these older movies and like you had like these like obscure like 80s comedies. Like, what was your thoughts pre-watch this?
I don't know if I can say those. It might get me canceled. Terry the girl. So I'm gonna give this movie probably like a 2.5 fingerless gloves and table flips.
It's okay to have feelings for Terry. That's totally acceptable.
She's fun. Like I just thought like what was this?
Yeah, and I didn't mean to say that when she had a little boy voice she wasn't attractive, but like legitimately, you can tell that's how she got the job.
Yeah, so 2.5 fingerless gloves and table flips. Yusuf, what do you got, man?
3 jockstrap surprise reveal review.
When she gets the jockstrap on her face, I was like, I don't know a woman alive who wouldn't puke immediately if a jockstrap landed on her face like that.
Yeah, that's nasty. This is a bad movie. I didn't laugh. I was very confused. I cringed a lot, and I had a lot of questions regarding the adults around this poor
adults were the
teenagers.
worst part.
Also, how long are Terry and Buddy's mom supposed to be out of town? Like
for 2 weeks,
3 weeks,
2 weeks, I think.
That
how'd she enroll herself in school and start? I don't know.
And there's a 14-year-old girl being passed around at the beach.
Yeah, that's true.
And the sixth grader.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think
she's gonna make him real happy in 6.
Guys, I think we move on to whatever Brian has planned for us. We're good.